If you got me on fantasy, man, get rid of me.
He naked, he open, 7-Eleven, Waffle House, all of that. Death taxes and A.J. Brown complaining for more targets. But this time, he might be right. Now, the way he did it was kind of nasty. He hooked up with very well-known Twitch streamer Janky Rondo and basically exposed how he was feeling. And we're going to go through some stats and facts that might back up the fact that, hey, man, you got to get your number one wide receiver the ball a little more. Now, it's hard when you have two number one wide receivers, right? And Swole Batman and Skinny Batman. Devontae Smith is the opposite of a diva. But A.J. Brown is known for complaining. And it's tough when you're 7-2 and you still have to hear complaints about your guy not getting the ball.
I promise you, you might get 200. And I ain't even trolling.
Hey. If you got me on fantasy, man, get rid of me.
Hey, spoiler alert, nigga. Didn't you hear me? Keep it to yourself.
Nah, actually, start him. Say, fucking start him, bro. Start him, bro.
And, you know, that's funny. That's cool. But, you know, it's another thing, you know what I'm saying, when you got to double down here. So, A.J. Brown went for a few yards. There's some copyright music because it's Madden, right? So, you know, Janky's talking about, hey, man, you going crazy. I put 161, and this is what A.J. said. You know what I mean? The little dude came in the room, of course.
Well, that gotta be cool as hell, bro. Like, you be like, bro, like, your son seeing you, like, on a game, bro. Like, that's actually lit, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. That's the only highlight of the damn football I've been living right now.
So, you know, A.J. Brown knows what he's doing, right? He knows the crowd that he's in front of. He knows that Janky Rondo is locked in with Jaden Day. Like, he's a big deal, right? So when he's saying that, he's sending a message out to the NFL and more importantly to Patullo, to Jalen Hurts, you know, to the entire offensive staff. And, you know, before we go deeper into some of the stats that back these things up and go left and right, I do want to stress the fact that, look, it is really tough to be in situations like this when you've just won a Super Bowl, you're 7-2, you're one of the top seeded teams in the NFC, and you just beat a Packers team that a lot of people were, you know, just 2-3 weeks ago were Super Bowl favorites. Like that, they were the guy, they were supposed to be the team coming out of the NFC. Now, Jordan Love's head just turns into mashed potatoes like every few days, but it is what it is. Before we get into the stats, I want you, and obviously there's a little picture behind me, comment down below which side are you on. Are you on Jalen Hurts side? Are you on A.J. Brown side? I'm going to tell you the stats, and I'm going to back it up. And look, I like Jalen Hurts, but I also like A.J. Brown. He's one of those true, real deal alpha wide receivers that I don't know how you don't get the ball to him anymore, but maybe with a few stats I show you, you can kind of see the light. So first things first, this is a tough look. This is undoubtedly just a tough look. And this was on a big down. And not only was this on a big down, the thing about this play in particular, you know, I talk a lot about offensive coordinators making things easier for their quarterbacks, making things easier for their Oh, sorry, I kind of cut myself off. But what I was saying was the thing that really, you know, stands out for this is this is an offensive coordinator that, for as much as, you know, Kevin Patullo has gotten a lot of outward criticism from Eagles fans and non-Eagles fans. Look, we watched that Thursday night snooze fest. Okay, these offenses weren't the most explosive, but he's known for getting criticism about being a little too conservative with play calls, and then maybe that goes back to the quarterback at hand. I don't know how y'all feel. Hey, I'm a Hurts guy. I'm a, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Hurts' top 10 guy, not top 5. But let's go and take a look at this. What I really like about this is you get the look that you want, right? These bunches are made so these defenders can't get up into your wide receivers as much. They can't designate who they want as much for receivers, and obviously it's going to immediately create some space in some of these areas. As you have, I believe, the outside corner and then safety, if not, you know, maybe nickelback. I'm not too familiar with the Packers secondary, but you know, you except for this corner that's taking number 2 right now, and I believe that's Dotson. You have both of your best wide receivers with instant space right now, and the concept's pretty good too. You want to put these people in, put these guys in conflict, or maybe you want to create a fake rub because this might potentially be man. Again, you get the exact look you get on snap. This is man, and not only is it man, they don't switch this, they don't do anything, they don't you know, banjo. Hey, I'm no secondary guy, but I know that there's typically a call that you can give, or you know, a call defensively where that assigns if you have a guy going out hard, hey, we're gonna switch that off so the leverage is a little better. What you have right now is the perfect defense for what is being called here. So Jalen Hurts is gonna get the top of his route. You get the fake pick, and again, this is a fake pick because of the man coverage. He's trying to get through this other defender and Dotson to cover AJ Brown. He's open right now. Right, and he's made himself open. He's opened his chest there, and he's gonna keep coming across. Now you do have a psychopath in Micah Parsons. I don't know if you can see. You do have an absolute psychopath in Micah Parsons that's trying to completely ruin this play. But I'd argue that if you're right here at the top, this ball just needs to be thrown. Like I think it's hard to complain or hard to argue that in this particular view, you need to get AJ Brown the ball here, and this is a top tier moment. And I'm not even mad if you hit Devontae here, but you know we can only judge conservative play calling so much if you're actually getting the players open. So maybe the offensive coordinator isn't the problem. Maybe it is not AJ Brown, rather Jalen Hurts being the bigger issue. And here's another look from it. You get Quay Walker here on a blitz too, so he's hot, right? He's got he's got 5 to block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's not hot, but because he should have one-on-ones, right? But he's got one-on-one, so you got no double teams, and you got Micah Parsons, which basically it should be high. Basically, it's an extra rusher when Micah Parsons is coming and burning down your left tackle here. So he gets it. He wins against Ray Mailata, and again, this is nasty. I don't want to be here, but again, I don't know if you can see. Peeking right here at the bottom here, AJ Brown is naked. He open 7-Eleven, a Waffle House, all of that. You know, he's got to make this throw, and if live to see another day, take that hit. But if not, maybe we find something else. Is Devontae still out there? Devontae looked like he was pretty open as well. So I can't. Or at least specifically in that play, right? I'm not absolving Kevin Patullo of all of the wrongdoings in this offense. But I do want to point out that in that instance, hey, Jalen Hurts is going to have to hit that, right? The Super Bowl MVP is going to have to hit that. The supposed top 5 quarterback is going to have to hit that. It's a tough situation. Now, to give a little bit bail on the other side, to be like, hey, this is a few weeks ago against the Broncos. Obviously, great defense here. You're going to see something that is a little bit concerning, and I think Eagles fans are kind of starting to notice that he's going to get popped here. Obviously, he's too physical. He hits him with a double move. Out here, Funga, I'll see you later. And here is the main issue, right? And y'all tell me, did he pull up? It looked like he geared down right there. Look, I know you hit this little move, but after you hit that move, there shouldn't be a reason that you're not full sprinting right down here to get it. But hey, comment down below. Did he pull up? Is this AJ or Jalen Hurts just overthrowing him? Y'all let me know. But the statistics say that you might want to get AJ Brown a little more incorporated, right? Doe says, and this is just a Twitter account. He says the offense is not sustainable at all. AJ Brown having the numbers he does after 9 games is absolutely unacceptable. This is a top 5 wide receiver, and he's out there running cardio. Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni need to get him involved. He is has 31 receptions, tied for 61st in the league. He's 50th in the league in yards. He's 54th in the league with touchdowns, 13.2 average yards a reception, which isn't great. In the last 5 games for old AJ Brown, 2 receptions for 7 yards, that's alarming. 5 receptions for 43 yards, 6 receptions for 80 yards, 4 for 121 and 2 tutters. Not a bad day at the office, and 3 receptions for 13 yards. So I mean, AJ Brown really does think that it's a shit show. He does not think that he's having a great time on the offensive side of the ball, going out and making these public statements because they're very public on these streaming accounts. It doesn't put your quarterback your team, it doesn't put your head coach in a really good situation. Now, I do want to point a few things out, right? Because there are, again, things to be pointed out. Wide receiver AJ Brown was targeted 4 times when Carrington Valentine was covering him. Brown caught only one of those passes for just 7 yards. So some people are arguing maybe this Packer secondary is just that nice. Some people are saying, hey, AJ Brown has been clearly unhappy with his role. That being said, the Eagles are 3-0 when A.J. Brown has less than 5 targets. And then, of course, the biggest headache of this whole situation, right? These are the 4 season starts. And last year's 7-2 start, this season 7-2 start. Last year, you had complaints about A.J. Brown complaining about not getting carries. Y'all won the Super Bowl. This year, you have complaints about A.J. Brown not getting the ball, and y'all are 7-2, seemingly on a similar path. So what does a head coach have to do when faced with silly questions about what A.J. Brown basically just set him up for?
Because there's been a couple players who have indicated that that it was a Jalen and A.J. communication that led to that?
I knew exactly what the play was that we were calling, and that was run in that moment.
So they didn't check?
I knew exactly what the play was in that moment, what we called, and what was
I guess
and
the
what
greater
did
issue
happen.
is why in the first 59 minutes was AJ never targeted beyond.
Were we in a debate, or is that what? Or
Well, I think that's a fair question to ask.
what's the question?
But why wasn't AJ targeted beyond the first 2 drives, and it took until that moment for you guys to throw to him deep?
Yeah, again, games. If you look at the game and how the game went, there's a lot of plays in that game that are going to him that, for different reasons, don't.
And again, we showed you one of those plays that, AJ Brown was wide open on. That we showed you times where AJ Brown might not have, fully pulled it. So I think, diva wide receivers are going to be diva wide receivers. They're always going to win the ball, except obviously Devontae Smith, right? You have basically 2 number ones, and Devontae knows how to sort of play his role. But AJ Brown is somebody who wants to really, truly be an alpha in any way, shape, form he can. So, and it got real bad. Nick Sirianni rather was not happy continuously answering these, what he thinks to be pretty dumb questions.
When you say it was kind of business as usual with AJ, I mean, his latest comments, made it seem like it's not business as usual. Like, how do you kind of reconcile that with
Yeah, guys, I'm close to being done answering these questions with this. Like, he's working hard, and he is a big part of this game plan, and will be a big part of the game plan going forward. And he's working like crazy when he's here, and I'm excited to have him.
I got to give Nick Sirianni a few pieces of credit, mainly because, I think he's looked at as a head coach as a little bit of a dweeb, as a dork. He's a little extra, yada, yada, yada. But I appreciate after, watching certain Browns head coaches just give non-answers and tiptoe around certain things that, he at least addresses those things. And, you can tell why, he hates the media, not having a great time with the media. And I say you should never trust the media, but at the same time, he was able to kind of push back on some of that sentiment. And at the same time, instead of saying, hey, AJ Brown needs to stop and shut up and stop talking to Twitch streamers about and boo-hooing about what he needs to do and yada, 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 and how I need to get the ball more. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of saying all that, he was still able to kind of sternly put that in that way and still lift him up. So I think that's great. Now, I do want to point out something. There was, again, this is not only is this happens all the time with AJ Brown, but this literally happened just early in the season, right? And so much so that there was this leak that came out that Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and his quads, he brought his quads with him, and AJ Brown had like this secret players meeting to kumbaya. But AJ Brown says,
Jalen, what was behind that?
I don't recall the meeting.
Oh, okay. The meeting never happened.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Those guys said it did happen.
Oh, you need to talk to them.
You weren't in the meeting,
I don't recall.
or you don't want to just talk.
I don't recall.
Coming into the season, returning 10.
He does not recall anything. So, some people might see that as a little bit, as that sketchy. Is the locker room not aligned? But then at the same time, this is just last week, November 6th, Devontae Smith's reaction when AJ Brown was asked back to a reporter, have I ever said I didn't want to be here? With a big smile. And Devontae Smith is smiling through that hoodie, boy. He is very, very excited, happy to see that. So, I think it's hard to just look at, a frustrated day, especially only having 7 yards. I think it's tough to take some of these certain things and really hold them as whole, right? When I think in reality, like we saw last season with him doing some of the same things, I think this is just what happens when you have alphas in a room. I think this is what happens when you have a wide receiver who thinks of himself as a guy that wants to be a game changer, and he feels like he hasn't been able to change many games. And in fact, anytime he has more than 5 targets or anytime he has less than 5 targets, they are really good at least winning games. It might be ugly. It might not be flashy. Y'all might be able to make Jalen Hurts jokes, but y'all can't say he's not winning. Y'all can't say he's not a Super Bowl champion. Y'all can't say AJ Brown's not a Super Bowl champion. So very interesting situation. Do you think AJ Brown is gone in the offseason? Do you think Jalen Hurts is gone in the offseason? Do you think Kevin Patullo is gone in the offseason? Comment down below. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't. Subscribe if you like football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashion. Continue to be great. We'll see you next time. Peace.